Hey guys, it's Erin. Today is going to be a very busy day, long day. I'm cutting flowers for a wedding that we're doing this weekend. They're good friends of ours, and we told them a year ago, I think, that we would do the flowers for the wedding. So basically, everything that's out in the field, we're cutting for them. They want, the colors that they want are coral and blue and sage green. We only have so much of the coral, very little, and then a decent amount of sage green foliage and whatnot. And the blue is coming from hydrangeas. This guy has been sitting here just frying in the sun, but there's quite a lot of good blue or good flowers inside underneath of all the fried flowers. So we're going to unearth all of those. As we go through this day, I'm mostly, because we're cutting so much, mostly it's going to be just me with a podcast in, cutting away. So I do want to talk to you a little bit. I will stop when we get to the lavatera to talk to you about how to condition those, how I do it. It's really simple, but I've been asked a couple of times, so I'm going to make sure that you see it. We've talked about the Cerinthe in the past on how you wrap them, so you'll see me do that. And then the hydrangeas here, they're daunting for a lot of people, but they're super simple. It's really easy to cut these as long as you have a cooler or someplace cool that you can let them sit and condition for a long time. There's a lot of different conversation about what's the best way to harvest and condition hydrangeas. So if you have a different way that works for you, I'd love to hear it in the comments, but I'm going to get after this. Like I said, a lot of this has been burning, frying in our heat, but underneath there's still good blooms. So we're going to do a real big hack job on this particular hydrangea. I've got a couple more that I'll get the few blooms that they have. They all look much better. And then I'll show you what the field looks like before, during, and after we cut everything that I can. Okay guys, this journey is going to be fun. Harvest today. I don't know if it'll be in this video or in a different one, but tomorrow is going to be creating all the arrangements and the bouquets and everything else that goes along with a wedding. And then putting it all in place, and I'll try to get some, maybe video, probably just some photos of what it looks like in place at the venue. The hydrangeas. So the way that I condition hydrangeas, because I do have a cooler and I've got it set at about 45, between 45 and 50, I'm going to cut all these flowers, the good ones anyway, and really they just go into, you can use hydrator or you can use warm water, like 100-degree warm, to put the flowers directly into, and then they got to go sit in the cooler for like 8 hours. These ones are all going to sit in there for overnight. I'm not going to do any arranging with them until tomorrow, so overnight is just perfect. A commercial hydrator, I got some off of Amazon. You can find a local source, a local dealer for that stuff. Or like I said, that I haven't tried it, but a lot of people will use hot water, 100-degree hot water, and you put the blooms in there and you let it cool all the way down and then store it in the cooler again for 8 hours. What it does is it makes the bottom of the stems more, it kind of breaks them down a little bit and allows them to absorb more water so that the flower heads get all the hydration that they need. Some people will also snip the stems like you would with a woody shrub, which sounds like a great plan to me. All of my woody shrubs I do that with. But like I said, I have some hydrators, so that's what I'm going to use. It's the only time that I use any kind of chemical at all for my flower cutting. Normally I wouldn't even do that, but I don't also usually cut and I don't usually cut hydrangeas for bouquets. They're just finicky, so I don't usually do that at all. Okay, at this point I'm just going to put in my headphones. I'll show you what I'm doing. And then I'll take you around the farm as we go through. Like I said, I'll stop a couple of times to talk about how I cut and condition certain flowers, but for the most part, it's just going to be a whole lot of flowers. Okay guys, unfortunately I had some microphone problems in a lot of places in this video, so bear with me as we walk through it. Uh, I was just pointing out that white flower that was the Ami that we're going to cut, along with the Sorrent that was right before it. Just walking through the field, they're pointing out the status right here, this apricot status that I was going to cut, along with the white status right behind it, and then the straw flower beyond that. We're going to, I was just showing you there's some apricot here and some pink different straw flowers, bypassing that school bus yellow rudbeckia, but I had to stop and point out the Sahara variety of rudbeckia. It's got to be one of my absolute favorites varieties of flower. Just the dynamic colors are just the best. And then pointing out all the dahlias that we were going to cut in coming up. Pretty much anything that wasn't red we're going to cut. And this just showing you all the buckets that I have prepared full of water ready to go. This dahlia is called Sunkissed. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then this pink one, we're going to cut all of those. And really, like I said, the only thing that we weren't cutting out of there, out of the dahlias, was the dark red and the orange varieties. And then this row, this was the lavatera, the pink, the blush, and the white. We're going to cut a whole lot of those. And then focus in on the zinnias. They showed up just in time for this wedding. This is a forget-me-not. There's a few of them that have self-seeded around the farm. So I was going to cut those also simply because that blue matches the hydrangea blue that we were cutting for all the rest of it. But these beautiful zinnias just were the star of the show for this whole day cutting. These are some asters that were blooming right on time as well, so we're going to cut all of those. And then a few of the feverfew. Didn't end up using a whole lot of that, but definitely needed a bit. I think right here I'm telling you not to mind all my weeds, but in amongst them were some snapdragons that had bloomed that we were going to cut for the wedding. And then further on down in this row is the cress. This right here has that beautiful sage green color. That's one of the wedding colors that we definitely needed to cut. And then at the end here is the frap snapdragons from Johnny's. The bride definitely was drawn to those when she came by the farm last week. So definitely going to do my best to get those cut for her, though not all of them are going to be viable. But there's still a bunch of other snapdragons in the different colors. Oh, and I had to stop because there's a cute little ladybug that had moved in. They're so fun. The sunflowers weren't quite going to be ready, but that's just an overview shot of the field. Such a great time of year. And some volunteer cosmos. They happen a lot in this time of year. Okay, so that was just it. Just wanted to show you what the farm looked like. Getting ready to get after the cutting from there. Okay, back to more audio problems. But right now, I'm talking to you through the reason or the methods for um, harvesting and conditioning lavateras. So it gets a bit of a bad rap because it doesn't have such a long base life, but it works a lot like a Cosmo in that if one is open, but there's several more underneath that are still budded up and getting ready to come out, that first bloom won't last all that long, but the additional blooms on there will. So I'm talking you through, you can see right here that gorgeous flower, but underneath of it, there's a bunch of little buds that are getting ready to open up. And as soon as they do, that first bud or the first flower that's already wide open that you can see, it's going to roll up and fall off. They only last a couple of days, but each one of the tips of those plants, those stems, has 5 or 6 new buds beyond it. I'm going to cut all of these. Oh, see, you can see it right there. That's a fresher one and another one right next to it that's even tighter. And all of those will continue to bloom throughout the time that it's in a bouquet. They do really work quite well. And we're going to cut all those, a whole bunch of those pink ones, the blush and the whites. I end up cutting probably about half of each, which ended up, you'll see later, being more than I needed, but definitely worth the effort. Okay, back to having no audio again for whatever reason. I'm all done cutting at this point. I'm really tired, but I want to show you everything that got cut today for the wedding. So we're going to start off with all these buckets right here. The first ones down here is just a couple of miscellaneous buckets. There's the crest that we looked at, the cosmos, and then some snapdragons in the back. There were a few that were still good. In this bucket, there's some echinacea and delphinium, and then in the back there is some oregano. Actually, it makes a beautiful filler. The Dusty Miller here, a couple buckets of that, and then the Astilbe. Oh, they're such sturdy stems. And then you saw obviously all the cutting of all these lavatera. They're just beautiful. It's such a good flower for weddings. Behind that was some of the zinnias for the buckets. I just adore those pale colors. Feverfew there, and then some China asters. Up here on the top, there's some zinnias, and the dahlias. Didn't have a whole lot of dahlias, but some. Right here is the baby's breath that I was not able to, I don't grow it, so I ordered it from our local exchange that I'm part of. There's some bee balm, some of the cerinthe that we cut, and then all of this status. It's just so pretty. I got some zinnias here. There's mint in that bucket. More, well, the straw flowers and some lilies and eucalyptus, all ready to go. Okay, so that's everything that we got out of the field this afternoon that's not in the cooler. At this point, I'm going to walk you over to the cooler so you can see what we have stored in there. Walking over here, there's beautiful, this is a firelight hydrangea, and it's just gorgeous right now. I couldn't help but stop and take a look. Oh, there was a snake right there that startled me. A little garter snake. They're harmless. And they eat the slugs, so I like to have them around. This is everything that needs to remain chilled. The blue hydrangeas, obviously, they held up really well throughout this whole process. Really thankful for that. We had the white hydrangeas. There's some roses in there. I also ordered some gladiolas and alstroemeria from the exchange, and then some lilies, and those are actually petunias that another flower farmer friend has been experimenting with, and they do quite well. She says they last about 3 weeks in a vase, which is kind of amazing. The alstroemeria also does really well and will hold up for the boutonnieres. Okay, so that's everything that we cut for the wedding. Everything else is just for the rest of the day. I'm done, and it's just a matter of hanging out and waiting, relaxing a little bit this evening, and then getting after everything in the morning. Good morning, guys. And this is where the audio decides to go out again. So it's the next day. We've got everything out of the cooler. It's all set and ready to go. I just wanted to show you the overview of everything, and then walk you through what the day is going to look like. I do have a friend coming to help me. Her name is Anna. She's going to be doing a lot of the table arrangements. I'm going to show her how to do it, and then get it done and let her just work through it assembly line style. Right now I'm talking about everything that we have to do. We have the 13 bouquets to build, 12 boutonnieres, 4 corsages, the flower crown, and everything else. There's quite a number of things to get done. Oh, and 25 table arrangements. I did right here, I started to organize the flowers for the bridal party. The color theme I spoke to before, they had sage green, dusty blue, and coral, and I ended up having some coral gladiolas in the garden. but I just organized them so that the bridesmaids that were getting the coral colors were together, the blue was together, and then the sage green type would be together. And that's just a look at how they all were sort of organized for that. And then junior bridesmaids get a little bit of everything, and the bride got a lot of everything. You'll see later her bouquet is quite the thing at the end. She loved it, so I'll take that as a win. And then I've got all of the jars set, or the vases set up for the bouquet or the table arrangements, and all the flowers are here and separated and well, ready to go. Here's all those glass vases that we have for the table arrangements. Thankfully, she didn't have any preference on color really, except for no school bus yellow, so easy to accommodate. I do, my coffee, the small jars will be for the boutonnieres and corsages to be in until the next day. They also need to stay in water as long as possible. So that's what that's for. So like I said, I do have a list. I wrote everything down of what I need to do, and it's all listed there. It's quite a laundry list of different arrangements. Also the aisle, for the aisle there is hydrangea and baby's breath in some shepherd's hooks that have some vases already attached to those. I forgot about those, and I needed a bucket for cake flowers, and there's some little tiny vases that got set up around the guest book and whatnot, so those also have a bucket of flowers. And then just looking at everything we had with the dahlias again, there's a little bit of that coral color that I can use for the arrangements. But at this point, it's just a matter of getting everything started. It's going to be a good long day. I'm thankful for Anna because she made the world of difference in being able to get through everything that we needed to get done. Okay, and at this point, we're just chatting and making the arrangements. So I'll put on a little bit of music and you'll see everything come together. Okay, and we're back to no audio, but we're all done with everything, getting everything prepped for the wedding, except for a flower crown that we have to do a little bit later. I just was walking you through how we packed everything up. John made these boxes and divided them up, so each box holds 6 arrangements, and they look so kind of crazy, all clustered together like that. Pretty wild colors, but when they go out onto the tables, they look a lot less jarring. But I personally love all the colors, and so did the bride. It was very, very cheerful for the happy occasion. Everything's in there looking really healthy, and it held up very nicely getting to the wedding. Very pretty. And then at the end here, there's a that lily bouquet that was just for the bridal party in their in the room that they were getting all ready in. It was just to add a little color and scent for them to relax. Talking through right here, I overkilled on the cutting. I do it every time, especially for a friend. I knew how much I needed. I had it all written out, and then I still cut more anyway. So I wasted a lot of energy that I didn't need to, but I felt better safe than sorry. And a lot of this, straw flowers and status specifically, I'm going to hang up to dry, so I won't lose all of that product. Those are the buckets for the aisle, the hydrangea and the baby's breath. And then at this point, I'm walking you through everything there's left to do. We got everything organized, and then showing you the bouquets. So those are all the blue bridesmaids bouquets, the coral, and then the sage green behind it. I think they all came out very, very pretty. Those coral ones I especially liked. And then the sage green, and as best I could do. And then that's the bridal bouquet. She wanted all the things in it. The toss bouquet. And then those are a couple of bouquets, roses and baby's breath she asked for memory seats for family that couldn't be with them. And then these buckets right here, there's a bucket for cake flowers, a bucket for miscellaneous. This is all just random extras and just in case. And then the last bucket I'm going to show you in a second is the flowers that I'm going to use for the flower crown. Everything there is sturdy, and it will hold up to being out of water for a long time. So at this point, yeah, everything is done. Just needed to relax. I have everything ready for in the morning to make the flower crown, pack everything up, and get rolling to the event. So for the flower crown, I don't walk you through all the steps. I just show you how I make it. It's just the gist of it is I make 8 or 9 small bunches of flowers, sturdy flowers, the astilbe, the alstroemeria, and some budded roses, and all of those are just, I make little bunches that I wrap with tape, and then I attach them to paper covered wire. I'll do a video in the future that shows how exactly I walk you through step by step how I do it. I just wanted to show you a little bit and then what the end result sort of looked like. I have one more flower bunch, but because this is such a little girl, I don't think we need the last one. Okay, now we're all done prepping everything. It's just a matter of getting everything into the car and yeah, getting over there.
No, we're from here. When I retired, we bought a house down there and lived there for 12 years.
All right, guys, it's the day after the wedding. I am thoroughly exhausted. It was a really long day. Unfortunately, I completely forgot to set up my camera for most of that install. I did get a few pictures and I'll put them in here. And I'm gonna see if, well, a few pictures and a couple videos, I think, that I took after setup was done. I'm gonna see if I know that the bridal party had a shared album that everybody that was there was taking pictures and posting to, so I'm gonna see if I can grab some of those. But all in all, it ended up really well. The bride was happy. The bridesmaids all loved their bouquets and took them all home. And actually the bride and groom gave away the table centerpieces in mason jars, and about half of them were taken. So I'll take that as a good sign that people like the flowers. It was a lot of fun, ultimately, but man, I'm so stinking tired. I let weddings stress me out, especially when they're friends' weddings, just because I want it to be perfect for them, and I always think that I don't have enough and that it's not gonna quite get there. It's just, self-imposed anxiety, I suppose. But everybody loved it, so I guess it went well. I had a good time. The wedding was fun because they were friends of ours, so we got to hang out. We got done with all the setup, and then we actually went home for a couple hours to kind of rest. John took a nap, and my friend Anna, she went home. She had another party to go to. And then we came back right at the ceremony time and hung out for the wedding. It was a lot. We saw a lot of people, a lot of friends that we haven't seen in years, and it was a good time. The flowers, like I said, ultimately they were great. It was so much fun to be able to just use the colors that were out in the field. You could see, and I know you saw when we were harvesting everything, there's so much color right now that aside from using the school bus yellow and the like blood reds and those kind of colors, we didn't use that, but everything else was fair game, and she loved it. We managed to make all those bridal bouquets in the colors that they wanted. I happened to have some coral colored zinnias and some coral colored gladiolas, and I certainly have sage green with the eucalyptus and whatnot, and then the blue, the hydrangeas. All of those hydrangeas, and I wound up with way more than I needed. All came from that one plant. I didn't even have to touch any of the other ones. I still have a bit of a mess to clean up, and it's gonna wait until tomorrow because I'm not touching anything today. Today is a full-on be lazy, sit on the couch and just relax. My niece came to stay with us last night, and my sister's been in and out, so it's just kind of a chill day. We need it. I slept later than I have in years. But, ultimately it was fun. I don't know that I'm going to volunteer to do a full service wedding again. I'm much more comfortable just making the bouquets and handing them off than I am with the whole setup and all of that. Generally my go-to is just selling buckets of flowers, and then you can DIY it. But because it was a couple of friends, we went the full service route, and yeah, I'm pretty tired. Okay guys, well, so just to recap, we spent the full day on Thursday cutting flowers. Clearly I didn't need as many as I cut because I always overthink it. I had a list, I knew how many of everything I needed, and then I just got nervous and picked a whole bunch more. So I spent a few more hours than I needed to cutting flowers. We spent most of the day putting together all the arrangements. Thank goodness for Anna, I never would have gotten it finished. I finished off with the flower crown in the morning. Everything fit in our 2 cars. Set it up yesterday morning, Saturday. It took, we got there at about 10 and we were done at about 2, so 4 hours to set everything up. And then we came back and it only took, I don't know, half an hour or so to clean up, just because so many people took the flowers home and it was a pretty simple setup. I did wind up missing about 4 or 5 of my vases. It kind of comes with the territory. Understand that sometimes, especially when the bride and groom tell the guests that they can take the arrangement home, that they didn't hear the part where I said put it in the mason jar, but that's okay. I work it into the cost of doing business. That's why I have so many of those. One particular style of vase. All right, guys. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know it's a really long one. It's a lot of fun to share all this summer beauty with you. And the next videos should be farmers markets, because I don't have any more weddings to do. Well, that's not entirely true. I do have some bouquets to make to bring to the next week's farmers market that the bride's mother will pick up at the market. Again, no full service, just making a few bridesmaids and a bridal bouquet for them to take. And my CSA starts up for the end of the season, which is that one of those glass jar or glass vases with the pick of the farm best flowers that we have, and another friend, another one that's dahlia focused. So they'll get 5 to 10 of the dahlias that we have blooming, and depending on how big they are, and they'll take those home specifically made just for them. Everything else will be our normal mixed bunches. So with everything that's blooming right now, we'll have a lot to choose from. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Leave a comment about what your thoughts are on how we did it. If you have any tips on doing it faster, aside from don't pick so many flowers. And subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.